Welcome to Lesson 1 of the 21-Day Memory System Reboot. Today, we're going to be talking about neuroplasticity and neurogenesis. Throughout life, we are basically made to believe that whatever brain we were born with is what we're stuck with for life. That, as you're about to see, is absolutely and heinously false. And no, I don't just mean that your brain ages. I mean that your brain is capable of changing constantly, no matter the age. Just like muscles of our body, our brain has tissue that is built to rearrange, grow, adapt, improve, or decay based on how we choose to use it. Neuroscientists made a couple groundbreaking discoveries recently that verify that our brains are indeed capable of change in a serious way. The fancy word for these two incredible principles are neurogenesis and neuroplasticity. Before the discovery of neuroplasticity, it was believed that our brains remained unchanged after we matured during childhood. So once you hit about 12 years old or so, you had the same brain that you're going to have through all of your adult years. Kind of a depressing thought, in my opinion. If this were true, it would mean that after the young age of 12, you really have no more say in the development of your mental capabilities. That has probably led countless people into believing that if you don't have a good memory, then you just got the short end of the straw in the genetic lottery, and your faulty brain was to blame. Thankfully, this is entirely untrue. Neurogenesis has shown that our brain is capable of growing new brain cells, especially in response to mental challenge and in the process of healing injuries. And the even crazier part is that neuroplasticity has been proven in many cases to show that your brain doesn't just randomly grow new brain cells. It does so as a response to activity, especially learning new skills. So that means when you challenge your brain by learning new skills, it will actually grow new, better, more capable brain cells to be able to handle the new technology that you're installing in there. So no matter what your brain is like now, it can be improved, upgraded, and beefed up through simple mental exercise like the techniques you're about to learn. And it's going to physically and permanently upgrade the actual structure of your brain forever. Now, we're going to be talking a lot more about neuroplasticity as we go on. But for now, the most important thing to realize is that it is true that our brain is capable of recreating itself. Neurogenesis means that the brain can actually create new brain cells. Genesis means create new, to give birth. So it used to be thought that once your brain was formed at about the age of 12, that was the brain that you were going to have for the rest of your life. But now we know that that's not true. Through certain activities, we can grow new brain cells. And that continues on until the later years of our life. And it really is just contingent upon how we use our brain. And the most important saying in the world of neuroplasticity and neurogenesis that you're going to want to remember, and the first lesson that we're really starting off with here today, is number one, just recognizing and knowing that it is indeed possible to upgrade your brain through activity, through specific activities. Therefore, your memory is one of the functions of your brain, and the better your brain is performing overall, the better your memory is going to be. So we're going to cover all sorts of different ways that we can upgrade how our brain is performing, and those things are going to be upgrading your memory. And the other saying to remember is, if you don't use it, you lose it. So our brains have a process that we'll talk about more in depth later on, by which the cells that we're not using on a regular basis basically get tossed out. So in a way, our brain literally shrinks with age, but instead of just thinking that that's what's supposed to happen and we can't do anything about it, it's important to realize that through neuroplasticity and neurogenesis, the adaptability, the changeability, and the moldability of our brain, we can change that destiny. We can basically go to the gym and work out our brain so that the rule of if you don't use it, you lose it, doesn't apply to us. So it applies to everybody, but it's like if you don't go to the gym, if you don't work on your muscles, then your muscles will deteriorate. They will fade away because your body no longer needs them. But the activity of going to the gym and lifting those weights communicates to your body that it's going to need to build muscle mass to be able to lift these weights every day. So then it responds by doing all of the chemical and biological processes that are necessary to build muscle. And that's how we get muscle. And the same thing works with the brain. If we work out our brain in certain specific ways, that communicates to the brain that we don't have room to be losing the brain cells that it's thinking about getting rid of. So especially as we get older, the brain's looking for ways to conserve energy. Again, we'll talk more about why all this happens and what we can do specifically to change this. But for now, it's just important to know that if you don't use it, you lose it when we're talking about our brain and our brain cells. So take advantage of neuroplasticity, neurogenesis. Neuroplasticity means that our brain can be changed, can be molded, and this is really, really important because we're going to be installing new beliefs, new behaviors, new habits, and new capabilities over the next 21 days, especially pertaining to your memory. And what's happening is this is the way that we learn anything. Even as babies, as we learn to move our hands and learn to walk and learn to talk, that is neuroplasticity happening. That is new brain cells, new connections being made. And we can continue that. It's really important to remember that we can continue that well on into our later years in life, in the middle, all throughout our life. We can keep changing our brain, and that's really, really important. A lot of people fundamentally don't know or believe that they can change their brain. They think whatever they were born with, that's what they're stuck with, but that is not the case. So we're going to take advantage of neuroplasticity, neurogenesis. Neuroplasticity, again, is the process by which we learn things and the brain actually creates new pathways. So we'll talk about that process and how it works and how we can use it to our advantage. Neurogenesis, we can create new brain cells. So those are the two important factors for our first lesson. And I'm looking forward to continuing this journey with you. I will see you on the next lesson.